Listen to the speech that was delivered by the Malian Foreign Affairs Minister Abdoulaye Diop on behalf of Transitional President Colonel Assimi Goita at the Summit of the Future in New York on the Sunday of September 22, 2024. It's a speech in which the Foreign Minister calls for a serious reform of the outdated United Nations Security Council and demands that sponsors of terrorism must be reprimanded and brought to justice.
Mr.
President, I have the honor to deliver this speech on behalf of His Excellency Colonel Assimi Goita, Transitional President and Head of State of Mali and President of the Confederation of Sahel States, comprising of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. The summit that brings us together and the resulting pact come at the right time. Indeed, our common organization, the United Nations, was created essentially to save future generations from the scourge of war. It is regrettable to note that after nearly 80 years, we have never been so threatened by existential challenges, most of which are avoidable. The proliferation of tensions and crises in the world, including terrorism, poverty, climate change, inequalities, diseases, geopolitical confrontations and hegemonic and neo-colonial domination ambitions have put a severe test on the action of our multilateral framework embodied by the UN, itself being a reflection of an old order and a world of yesterday. In this context, Mali had placed a lot of hope in the international forces on the ground, but 10 years later, we came to the conclusion of failure. Consequently, the government has worked to strengthen the capacities of the Malian defense and security forces, which have enabled us to make tangible progress in the reconquest and preservation of our territorial integrity and the protection of the populations of our country. On this occasion, I renew my country's recognition of the countries and organizations, including the United Nations, which expressed their solidarity with my country during the terrorist attacks that targeted my country on September 17, and following the declaration of the United Nations Security Council. It is important that all member states act in the fight against terrorism by respecting their international commitments, including the responsibilities to be placed in relation to the sponsors of terrorism, who must assume their responsibilities and be brought to justice. The Summit of the Future marks a new beginning for international cooperation in a relevant multilateral framework capable of offering a bright future to all humanity. So we must act collectively to renew our commitment to transforming the world from a multilateral framework that has governed our affairs until now. In this regard, it is essential that ambitious decisions and commitments meet the aspirations of our populations, particularly those in the global south. It is also essential to have the courage to reform our current multilateral institutions, particularly the Security Council and international institutions, in order to adapt them to the realities of our times so that they are more inclusive, more just, more equitable, but above all more representative. The issue of youth is an extremely important dimension that must occupy our nations. My country Mali remains committed to the key principles of our charter, in particular, non-interference in the internal affairs of countries and respect for the sovereignty of states. Mali also pays particular attention to issues of financing development, particularly sustainable development. We believe that the digital issue is also an essential dimension. Moreover, my country has committed to implementing an ambitious program for the digitalization of public services. Finally, we believe that the Pact for the Future is a very ambitious project at the national and international levels, but it must go beyond a promise, a declaration to meet the aspirations of current and future generations. Thank you.